I don't get when French people make a film, they're just like, oh, but what if I said something a little sad to you when we were talking about something happy? And then you're like, oh ho ho. It's like, y'all grow up.
Fuck them. Keep your francs.
I do think Claire Denis overrated in general. I have yet to see a Claire Denis movie that I'm like, oh, this was as good as people said.
I will say, when I watched Paris, Texas for the first time, she's credited as like she's like the cinematographer or something of that movie. Yeah, I remember, or she was like the assistant director or like the second director or something. Because I watched that for the first time with Schwartz like last year, and I remember telling you about it because I knew that it was one of your faves.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing like Claire Denis very prominently listed on the credits, and I was like, oh, cool. And like I thought that movie was awesome. So maybe she had something to do with the way that movie is. So
I had no
like,
idea, Gov.
I was excited to watch, Beau Travail because everyone was like, oh, it's amazing. It's like homoerotic. It's about the military, whatever. I was like, and it's like this person who had worked on Paris, Texas. I was like, sign me up. I was so excited. And I watched it and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That was so stupid.
Have either of you seen High Life?
No.
Yes.
Is that one good?
Overrated.
I liked it a lot.
Overrated. Wrong. Overrated.
Interesting. Have you played the video game High on Life? That's
Never
what I
put that together. Well, you got to see High Life to be the decider. If both of you say it's overrated, I'm willing to change my opinion.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
no.
Okay.
I refuse to change my opinion, no matter what anyone says, because that's part of being an American citizen.
Oh. Well, there's two ways you could look at it. One could argue that like our democracy makes it so that like you are willing to, respect like a democratically elected opinion. However, we all know that since 45 took office, our democracy has been in shambles.
Yeah.
So, even though 46 is in there right now, I mean, who knows? It's like fucking
47's up next.
Well, and we'll see.
Who knows? I want to see like a Hotel Hell episode based on the White House.
Oh, that's good.
He goes in and uses their showers, and he's like, "The shower's disgusting."
He presses Donald Trump's Diet Coke button. This button is filthy. I don't know. I like to imagine that was one, real, and two, that like Biden has not removed it.
Yeah.
He thought it was convenient.
Yeah.
Just left it in.
Yeah.
Like the bowling alley or whatever.
Right. Yeah. It just becomes like a presidential feature.
Yeah.
Well, if there's one thing we should feel empowered to do as Christian film reviewers, it is to make up a scenario in our head and then one, pretend it's real, and two, react to it as if it was real.
Yeah. It's almost the only way a conservative Christian could win a debate.
Yeah.
Which is probably why so many films, such as the one we're about to discuss, like to show us the true power of the imaginary debate, where you get to make up all of the arguments.
You get to script it out.
And everyone watching secretly agrees with you, but they can't say it until you do the debate.
Yeah. I agree. We love debates and we love America. Welcome back to Boys Bible Study, the #1 all-American podcast where facts win and ideas come to play. Ash here with my co-hosts,
Scott
and Julian.
At ease, boys. This is our special episode on a film called One Nation Under God. It is a very recent film from 2021. It is a banger. I think it's safe to say on behalf of everyone here before we get started. And it's directed by Lisa Arnold, who is a new favorite filmmaker of ours. She did a movie that we reviewed called This Is Our Time, which was made in 2012 and was basically about the plights and perils of college-age millennials at the time.
I was trying so hard to remember why we did this movie.
Right.
And I was like, The person did another movie. It's been 2 weeks, and I completely forgot about that movie.
It has been 2 weeks. And yes, the reason we are doing this in part, I think we all felt the same, but you really led the excitement where we were basically in the middle of reviewing that film. We found this film and we were like, oh shit, why didn't we just do that one? And so here we are today doing that one. And I'm glad we did. I think it summarized exactly the type of film we like to review for this show.
Yeah, this was I agree, a banger.
And we might cover another one of hers for Christmas in July. Who knows?
Oh, which
Let's
one's
do
that?
it.
Remind me.
Bringing Back Christmas.
Aha.
Yes. Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. DJ, run that shit back. Lisa is like, I'm just going to like compliment Lisa right off the bat. I feel like she's the perfect Christian film director. You know, more like she can direct films that feel like, you know, they could play at the Fathom Events screening.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Let There Be Light. It's like The Sound of Freedom, which I haven't seen, but it's like this is a movie that feels like it's made for the theatrical audience in a way that some of our other directors cannot really seem to muster. I think she's really good with pacing. She throws out the pieces of candy for us just when our mouths are open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It definitely felt like, it's meant to be shown in front of a large group of people. But at the same time, I was watching it and I wrote down that this movie feels like I'm watching a Funny or Die skit from 2009.
How
It
so?
does feel like,
It just
say more.
felt like it felt like a parody of like kids at a school. Like it felt like somebody being like, we're going to make a school that's basically what every like conservative person thinks the idea of like a school is.
Yep.
It's racist, it's woke, it's atheist, all in one sentence. And for some reason, it's a private school in this movie.
It's also, that's a really good point. It's deeply unfair, yet also provides opportunity for everyone. Like,
Yes.
how is that possible?
Yeah.
How can it be all of these things? It's wonderful.
I wish I had written down the line that made me make that note, but the whole time I felt like I was watching a like parody trailer for like conservatives version of High School Musical.
Yeah, let's get into this film. It is amazing. It's about conservative kids. It's about schools. It has stars in it. Some stars that you're gonna expect, and some stars that you're not going to.
Yep.
And in my opinion, it was just delightful from beginning to end. Let's start at the beginning. Love a film that opens with a quote from former president of the United States, Ronald Reagan. That's how you know you're in good hands. Just right from the beginning, lay the Reagan quote on you.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
I've been dreaming about a different place with one God, no religion, no war, no race.
What is the quote?
I
I
literally
started the movie and
forgot
I
to write it
kind of
down.
walked away from the computer because I figured I wasn't going to miss much.
I don't remember the quote. My notes just say opens with a Reagan quote into god awful Christian song. Lisa Arnold, she loves getting music that's appropriate for the film. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah.
She like music supervises by like searching for keywords. Like she puts in some really stupid fucking Christian R&B song that's like one nation under God.
Yeah. This had like the patriotic Christian, like inspiring pop song that breaks down into like hip hop
Yep.
during the credits, which is awesome. And in the middle of the movie.
Very musical movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes music in her films. She likes original Christian music. She's good at pacing. She has access to some of the bigger time Christian actors. She knows how to make a film. So this felt very Lisa Arnold to me
Yeah.
right away.
Oh, here's
was-
the quote.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah.
If we forget that we are one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
His ass
no,
did not
he
say
never
that.
said that, dude. There's no way.
No.
Ronnie
That's
Reagan.
like that's like if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best, Ronald Reagan.
It reminds me of the Kurt Cobain quote about Donald Trump.
Oh yeah. I think a businessman would be president. Hey, maybe even Donald Trump could be president. His ass did not say that. Didn't say it. I love that.
They
quote.
should get another one of him to help Biden win the election. Like, it turns out the sentence
Ooh.
kept going.
Yeah. And then maybe after that, maybe a former vice president could be president. It's like very, very
But
plausible.
this time for 2 terms.
Yeah. So this is another great. So part of the reason One Nation Under God is so good is that Lisa Arnold is like smart enough to not make the film about like she's coding making an anti-woke film about a boy with a lot of opportunity and promise. And how she does this is she casts a Latino boy and his mom who says things like, David, mira, it's time for you to go to school.
So funny.
Constantly. And that's great because she can do that and talk about how he's trying to conform to a woke environment at school without making it about like a white kid trying to get along with like liberal like minorities in school. You know, that would be like too obvious.
Yeah.
So she makes it about like a Latino kid who's being denied an opportunity by wokeness.
The bad guys at the school were like just openly racist to him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
While at the same time being like, don't you understand, essay? We respect all people here. So take that God shit back to freaking Mexico with you. It was so bizarre. So fucking bizarre. I mean, that's like, it's kind of what, it's funny because it's like what right-wing people think like quote unquote wokeism is.
Right.
Is just like racism towards white people.
Yeah.
But then they were like,
Basically.
well, we also have to like, you know, make it impossible to disagree with this. Like we have to create this character that is like a liberal's worst nightmare.
Right.
Which is like a person of color, child of immigrants, who came to this country the legal way, became citizens. And so that way we can just have him be like, I think that we should build a wall because my parents came here legally.
Right.
And also, I think that this country was founded upon biblical principles, and we have to have that. And like, you're supposed to be like an atheist, just being like, "Damn you,
damn you, David!
Ay Dios mío, David! You've outsmarted me." This movie is basically another one of those Christian movies like God's Not Dead or whatever the fuck else we watch.
Yeah.
Where it's like the hunt for the perfect combination of like 10 words or less that will just destroy any atheist.
Yeah.
That to people who make films like this is like the key to winning any argument, defeating anybody, to proving God exists. All you have to do is just combine 10 words or less in a particular way, and you like basically say a phrase that like banishes atheists to like the non-denominational ether.
Their debate is like 2 minutes long.
2 minutes
I got so
long?
much shit about the debate. It's so fucking funny.
Let's work our way there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great stuff. So you know, his mom calls him David. Everyone else in the movie calls him David Gutierrez.
Including himself.
Right. Right. Is, you know, a high school kid. He's been accepted into this prestigious private school. It's clear in the beginning of the movie, it's setting up a class distinction. He is a lottery pick for the school. However, in order to apply and be considered, he obviously had to have, you know, good grades, seem like a pretty smart guy. So, he's among intellectual equals, who are gifted and ambitious kids, but, he struggles with the class distinction. It also seems like they're sort of doing like a racial thing, but, not really. He has like a black friends, but like, his bullies are white and he's Mexican. We sort of said this already.
So was this supposed to be a private school?
That was my understanding.
There were kids in uniform. Yeah,
which
which
been like
kind
a charter LA school, which there's a lot of those in Los Angeles.
But it like, I don't know, that like just totally defeats the whole purpose of this movie. I thought it was so strange that they made it a private school because they were like,
right.
And it's all about like changing the rules of the private school because they're not, in line with what the government has said.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
really,
right.
really.
It doesn't make
weird.
sense. It doesn't make sense
so
from that
funny.
standpoint at all. Even if it is a charter school, that's still like another way of like charter school can basically mean anything these days.
Right. And there's a certain type, not all, but there's a certain type of Republicans who, there's the idea of like divesting from public schools and into private and charter schools, which I think is what Julian was getting at.
Oh, no, totally. But I'm saying,
right.
Like,
right.
But no, whether it's private or a charter school, same situation is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's so,
just like,
you're very correct.
Like the school, so basically the school has like a no mentioning God policy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just weird that it was like they do all this arguing about like what the country was founded upon and everything, and like at a private school where they could literally just be like, hey, everyone can only wear one shoe here. And it's like,
Right.
there's nothing you can do about it because this is a private for-profit school.
Yes.
Like, this is not a public school.
That literally just happened with, I think it was actually a charter school in North Carolina where they were like, we want girls to wear skirts because it's better for boys' understanding of like what like male female relationships are supposed to be like. It was like something like pretty much exactly along those lines.
Okay. All right. Let them cook.
They should have just gone the full force and just made like, you will get your sex will be assigned to you when you set foot on the first day of school. We're gonna do a sorting hat.
Sex
and
assigned.
forced transition upon you.
Yeah, just a sissy hypnosis academy.
Yeah.
I'm an SHA alma mater, Sissy Hypnosis Academy.
But to that point too, like you're supposed to. The reason why Republicans supposedly push charter and private schools so much is so that you can just pick the type of school you want to go to. So why would you even pick a school where it's like, and there's a no God policy? It's about Christians. We're still going to send you there.
But that's because David, like all good protagonists in Christian children's movies, is a believer, and his mom, in this case, she just doesn't care that much.
Right, because she wants an opportunity for him. I really want to bring up the scene immediately following this, because on David's first day, this part of where this movie gets its title, he dutifully reports to homeroom. He gets there while they're doing the pledge, and this is when he first learns that the school has a no God policy. They do the whole pledge. Somehow, everybody in the school, it's choreographed that they just pause the exact rhythm of when you're supposed to say under God. And David is the only one who says under God, while everyone else in class holds for a second and a half in silence to acknowledge the fact that they are no longer saying that phrase. And then they continue to the point where everyone notices there's a total blank pause where David is the only one who says under God.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She should have
So
had him say
fucking
one
funny.
nation gone under, like Reagan said.
That would have been pretty freaking epic.
Yeah, I accidentally did this in my school.
What?
Like somebody would, it was kind of like a thing where it's like, oh, if you were in the school office at the beginning of the day, sometimes they'd be like, do you want to say the Pledge of Allegiance over the PA system? And I was in there one day and I did it, and I literally just forgot to say under God.
No.
And then like later on in the day, I was like it wasn't like a big deal, but a couple people like mentioned something and they were like, what's wrong? Why didn't you say under God?
Oh my
and like some
God.
people were like, that was cool that you didn't say under God. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking
You did
about.
a political statement.
Yeah,
You didn't mean to.
exactly.
You accidentally did a political statement.
And my mom also told me after that happened, my mom told me that she got detention when she was in high school for refusing to say the pledge.
Wow.
And
What?
she had to write, her teacher gave her the opportunity to write a paper explaining why she shouldn't have to. And she got out of the detention.
Oh.
Yeah. It runs in my family.
I guess so.
Wow.
Oppositional defiance disorder runs in your family. Well, speaking of which, in high school, at least for a little bit of high school, I would not say the pledge out of principle. But now I do stand for the national
Now-
anthem out of
yeah.
principle. And the what I'm trying to say here is I have no morals and ethics other than like trying to be slightly contrarian to what's happening at the present moment. That's basically as far as my ideals go. So I would do
respect
well I would do
Yeah.
well at Lehigh School, Lehigh Academy.
Is that what it
What?
was in this movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lehigh.
Lehigh, not Lehigh, because that is a real high school. And
Yeah,
maybe
I went
Lee
to-
Space High is as well.
I grew up in Lehigh, the Lehigh Valley. Yeah, the word Lehigh is like very
Well, it used to be called Godly High School, but they removed that.
yeah.
Wow, but they removed God from schools.
Yes,
Yep.
they did. Now it's just Lehigh.
And Herschel Walker went there too. I forgot to look up if he did go to a school named Lehigh or not.
A funny person to put in your movie as like the celebrity. He has been completely abandoned by the Republican Party, by the way, after losing his election.
He is so fucking funny. You've seen his son, right?
Yes, the son who came out
Christian.
against him, like denounced him and said, like, my father has secretly had several abortions. And like,
Oh my
I'm the
God.
only one of his children that he acknowledges is.
Holy
Yes.
shit.
Well, Christian
So
Christian
funny.
Walker is an insane social media influencer. As someone who's perpetually online, he's kind of fallen off, but he
Yeah.
used to be everywhere. He's out as gay. He's very flamboyantly gay. He does these like videos where there's a insane, he does this on purpose. He knows it riles people up.
Yeah.
There's this insane video where he's in the Starbucks drive-thru and he's screaming to his phone, "Let men be men." And then he pulls up and the lady goes, "Hi, what would you like to order today?" And he goes, "Hi, can I get like a mocha frappuccino or whatever?" It's this insane fucking
That's
video.
pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. No, he has an audience, like sort of an ironic audience who considers him probably rightfully so to be like a performance artist.
yeah.
He also speaks fluent Mandarin,
Wow.
which he has deployed on several occasions. There's entire videos of him speaking like Chinese.
Wow.
But a very strange family. That's all I'm saying. When I saw Herschel Walker in this, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he is. There's just been so much evidence about CTE that's come out in the past few years. I just don't think that we should be electing former pro football players who like played at a time where they would like basically tie a pillow to your head and tell you to like run as fast and hard and lead with your head as you can into the like opposition.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
win.
we tied a buckwheat pillow to your head. And,
He went to Johnson County High School, by the way, not Lehigh. More lies from Herschel Walker.
there's some other pretty, some big names in this film, not just Herschel Walker. I mean, we'll talk about it more. There's about to be a big Sorbo reveal.
Oh yeah,
We'll talk more to say on him.
we'll reveal that later.
We will. Casper Van Dien.
Yes,
I liked seeing
He's
him in
great
this
in this.
movie. He was awesome.
He was so funny.
He plays the heel. Well, more
The
about
evil
that.
headmaster.
Yes, the evil
Evil
headmaster.
headmaster.
Tough
I guess
dad.
he's right. He's first revealed on David's first day. He's confronted by like a handsome but like sort of they casted him very well. This very like he looked like a shark.
Yeah.
That type of boy who went to your high school who was a bully because he literally has the physiognomy of a shark.
Yes.
That is a real type of guy, and they cast an actor who was very accurate, I thought. It reminded me of people at my preppy suburban like public high school.
More guidance counselors should practice phrenology
Yes.
in order to stop bullying.
Yeah, they get
you
the
go.
calipers out to tell you what career you should,
Yeah.
what major you should choose in college.
We're not that far off, honestly. First, we arm the teachers and students, and then we bring back phrenology.
Yeah, and then the nurses will have leeches.
Yes. So they balance your humors when you go to the infirmary. They say, "Oh, you're a bit irritable today. Your black bile level must be
Yeah.
too high."
I went to the nurse with a tummy ache, and she drilled a hole into my skull, and I had to like lay on my side.
Yeah. One day. But yeah, after this, there's this boy who approaches David after the class and confronts him, in front of everybody. Was bullying him like, "Ooh, you were the kid who said under God, like you don't belong here." David then says some total wimp shit back, like, "I have nothing to lose and you do, so you shouldn't bully me." And then the bully leaves, and all the other kids are like, "Wow, you really outsmarted him." I was like, "Did he?"
You the kid that said under God during the pledge?
I wouldn't break that.
You think I care what a nobody like you would do?
But destruction of personal property with so many witnesses and an attack on religious freedom of a minority could get really out of hand.
No, not in this school, kid. Don't you know who I am?
Should I?
That's it.
You're clearly a person of status, which means you don't need me to prove that. Plus, you've got something to lose. Not me. I'm a nobody, remember?
Better watch your back, kid.
Nobody ever stood up to him like that.
I
Or did
guess.
run away in fear, I guess. Well, it does
This
open.
is
I mean,
just-
he was really well cast, like you're saying.
Yes.
But he also that scene opened with him saying, "Come on, move it, boy genius," to a boy in a wheelchair in front of him.
Okay, that was pretty funny. I forgot about that.
I just love this like conservative idea. Like they want so bad to just think that like all I have to do is be a neocon, and no matter what I say, I will own somebody. And he's just like, yeah, well, you shouldn't bully me. And they're like, whoa, you really stood up to that guy. It's like Ben Shapiro core. Ben Shapiro would get his ass whooped in literally like any other fucking like domain.
Right.
I want to see this little kid. And this is what this movie does to you.
Yeah.
Me, I'll say it, left-leaning, human being on this planet. And this movie's got me cheering for a child of color,
Sure.
child of immigrants. I wanted to see him get his ass whooped from the moment he set foot in that school.
I know.
It's like the fucking Logan Paul or Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. I'm going to be rooting for a convicted rapist
Sure.
to beat the shit out of that guy who, as far as I know, has done nothing wrong except being annoying.
I am right there with you. I found
Yeah.
David to be an insufferable character.
They could have written,
Yeah.
I mean, the bully cast great. They could have written him a little better. A real bully, at the very least, would have just been like, "Shut the fuck up, nerd."
That was the part that felt like a comedy skit to me. Was the bully was like, you better not say under God in this school.
Yeah.
This school is all about respecting all religions. Like slamming him up against the fucking locker.
Right. And this is made even funnier, when the kid says, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And, of course, David doesn't. It's his first day. Later in the day, David is called to the headmaster's office. This is when we meet Casper Van Dien for the first
Yes.
time. And they look like father and son. They look great
Yeah.
together. David goes to the headmaster's office. He's like, "Are you the kid who said under God to my son?" It's so fucking stupid.
Did we ever learn why this guy cared so much about this.
No,
I don't know.
Because even remember, there's that
we kinda
moment where
learn-
David
yeah.
is like, "What happened to you that you get so mad about the cross or God or whatever?" And
Yeah.
then it suggests that we're gonna find out, and we don't.
We never do.
That's right.
So just let go of that. There will never be some insane reveal. Perfect opportunity for, his mom to have been killed in a car accident or died of cancer,
Yes. Yes.
leading to, my mother was killed in a car accident. And the next day we took Under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance.
My mom, who was a terminal cancer patient, was
Run
on her
over
way to
by a
hospice
semi-truck.
on her way to hospice care when she was T-boned by a school bus,
Yeah.
carrying the rest of the school.
Yeah. And my father was actually the priest for the school.
But I was adopted by the headmaster.
Yeah.
That's never explored, unfortunately, but it is still awesome to see Casper Van Dien playing the heel admirably well.
Yeah.
I thought he was great. I have in my notes, Casper is outwardly racist to David at one point, but then he says but the school's like a good opportunity. Like, it's like this is not what he says, but it's like he's like, yeah, this school's a good opportunity for Mexicans like you.
Yeah.
It's like so stupid.
It's really
what?
it's worse than anything that we could say to make fun of it.
Yeah.
David Gutierrez? Do you speak English?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. Daniel, I need you to tell me whether or not you oppose the tolerance policy at Lee High School that states nobody shall exercise their faith in a way that disturbs another student's learning.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I'd have to take a closer look.
You want to read the fine print? Maybe you should have done that before you touted your faith, yelling under God in the middle of the classroom. You have a great opportunity here to learn, to progress. You have all the tools you need to rise up out of your circumstances and become something of worth. Prove to me that you won't mess that up. Comprende?
This is all well and good. Parallel storyline to this. It is the presidential election season.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a couple candidates competing for the nomination of, genuine question I'm asking to you guys, of what political party? Were they supposed to be Democrats, Republicans?
No idea. This is where it felt like I was watching Civil War all over again.
Okay.
I had no idea what anybody was. It was quite quaint, to be honest, to watch this. I was watching old George W. Bush campaign ads, and it was funny to just see them be like, voters are excited about his policy of lowering taxes and raising literacy and addressing homelessness and all this stuff, but voters are concerned about his lack of faith or whatever.
Right.
Now it's like voters like his kill gay people policy and throw the homeless people into a big fiery pit, but they're concerned about his ties to space reptilians.
I would go a step further and say voters like the fact that they have drawn you as the soy Wojak and them as the Chad Wojak.
Yeah, that's a lot more accurate.
In this movie, at first I was confused. I thought one was supposed to be a Democrat and the other a Republican, and I was like, which one's which? Then I realized they were both of the same party, but again, I could not tell you which party.
They're trying to get the nomination.
Yes.
Right.
One's a senator and one's a governor, and they are both warring for the nomination of a certain unnamed, probably intentionally unnamed political party.
Yeah.
The Libertarian Party.
Now,
Yeah.
Yeah, the anti-Catholic party.
Yeah.
The anti-Freemason, the no Freemasons party or
It
whatever.
shows the results of the election at the end, and it's like, and with 0.2% of the vote is
the
whatever.
neo-Marxists.
Yeah.
They've done it.
They're considering this a W.
Yeah. Yeah. But mostly we're focusing on a Senator Vieira, who is from the district, and we're learning about him. You know, he's a senator running for president, and a certain viral moment on his campaign intertwines the stories of Senator Vieira and David Gutierrez.
He's on the campaign trail. He's going back to his old high school, which is none other than Lehigh, where he went, I guess, succeeded. That actually, too, now that you're saying it was a private school, it is weird for him to be like, and I truly think that you guys are the best. I don't know. I guess that's what you would say at your high school. I don't know.
It's just so funny that like anybody gives a shit about any of this. And they're all like, "Are you sure you want to go back to the school, Mr. Vieira? This could be a disaster." And they're like, "Yeah, fucking I'll go there for 5 minutes and shake a hand and be like, vote for me."
Yeah, there's a lot of like us in his, where we get a bird's eye view of his campaign office. They're hemming and hawing. He has some smart talking millennial
West Wingers.
Yeah, very, who are, saying things like, we need to show that you can go back to your roots, but absolutely no, bipartisan talk or whatever. Yes, literally two of the most annoying characters in the film are his Ben Shapiro looking aide and, this, a woman who kind of looks like, Flo from the Progressive Auto Insurance. And she's saying things like, I need to get a facial and a pedicure.
Whoever told him not to go to the school had probably a good point. Like, hey, if you're running for president, you probably shouldn't go back to your like $180K a year tuition private school to like get in touch with your roots.
Right.
You're like apparently pretty recently all white public school or private school that you went to. But this is Antonio Sabato Jr. playing Senator Vieira.
I'm sorry. I thought he looked familiar, but I don't know that name.
He is the guy. He was the special celebrity that they brought out when Trump was first nominated for president, and they couldn't find like any celebrities to endorse him to introduce him at the Republican National Convention. So they were just like, it's Antonio Sabato Jr.
That's awesome.
And and I laughed and I said, there's no way this guy will be president. Not with names like Antonio Sabato Jr.
I mean, it is still amazing that like at his inauguration, they got like a weird like low rent Blue Man Group drum ensemble and like Mike Love from the Beach Boys.
Mike Love and John Stamos and the guy from Sugar Ray or whatever performing.
It's crazy how he
day
constantly
crazy.
comes across like he just didn't prepare and do the homework and just kills it every time.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's why they hate him so much, because they're like, we don't care about your politics. We're just pissed off because we try so much harder at this than you.
Yeah.
It's like Mozart and Salieri.
That's so true.
Trump is Mozart.
Of course.
And the establishment is Salieri.
Well,
and they're
Trump-
just like, this fucker.
Trump is the Chad Wojak and they're the soy Wojak.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it, And that's all that matters. So, President Vieira visits a school and gives a speech. And I guess we skipped around a little bit. We still haven't introduced the debate team, which we will right after this. But I'll just say for now that at the debate team, David starts, although it's his fourth day at school, David feels empowered to speak out for himself. And he's starting to realize there's a conflict between a very faith-based person, and the school that literally forbids you from saying the word God.
Yeah. So he Didn't he go to the debate team the first day of school? He had like an extremely eventful first day of school.
Yeah. Should we just talk about the debate scene before we drop the special viral moment that changes the world?
He walks into an after school debate club led by Kevin Sorbo.
I cheered at the Sorbo,
who is basically playing his character from God's Not Dead, but he is such a free thinker. He's like going to let anybody basically say anything they want as long as they can back it up in a debate, in the spirit of a healthy debate.
Right.
Basically, like what this means is that he believes in God because David can argue good enough for it.
Sure.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like everybody. So the thing about this movie is that every single person is a Christian. They just need someone else to spell it out for them.
Yes.
And so Kevin Sorbo is leading a debate about what's written on the chalkboard. Was it One
In
Nation?
Blank we trust.
Oh, yeah. In blank we trust. And everyone lists like teachers, the media, doctors, all this stuff. And he's like, so do you all think we should trust these people? Yay or nay? And everyone says yay. And then David says, nay.
Right.
We should only trust in God.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, and
that's really crazy. And also a borderline paranoid schizophrenic way of viewing the world.
Yeah, it's during this moment when David is starting, and he's a little hesitant at first. Kevin Sorbo's character needs to kind of, let him know, hey, like I hear you, I see you. You're allowed to talk about God, even though the school policy says you can't. But David is finally empowered to take on the inner Billy Potwin.
Yeah.
Or whatever the guy's name from Alongside Night is, like the libertarian kid. Like he can finally become like the precocious libertarian, 14-year-old of Christian movie fantasies. He's been unlocked.
Mm-hmm. It's also really annoying because he is like one of those people who's like, it's kind of like the God question, where it was like all these people are going around thinking about things that are relevant to their lives and their personal experiences when really they should be thinking about God, because that's what I'm mostly concerned about.
Right.
And he's like a professor that makes like, 7 figures.
And it's like, if you're a weeb for God, that's great. But
yeah, exactly.
Not everyone else is going to.
That's what this felt like, was like, who are some people we should trust? And everybody's just like, oh, well, I should hope that I can trust my teachers. He's like, no, you trust in God, and that's it.
But granted, he was leading them to it. He was filling in a blank that the obvious answer. They're all smart kids.
Yeah.
They've seen a dollar bill before.
Mm-hmm.
They know the phrase "in God you trust," but they're too afraid. At least that's how I read it.
Yeah.
Or
That
they're
is-
or it's just been taught out of them. If they're not actively afraid, it's been, beaten out of them by the hostile to God culture of Lehigh.
David's baffled by it at the end of the class. He's like, what? Because Kevin Sorbo's like, what? Why didn't you say what you meant to say? And he's like, what do you mean? Like everybody knows what that's supposed to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And, Sorbo's character becomes sort of a mentor to him. I wrote in my notes, y'all, Sorbo was eating this up. I thought he did such a good job in this movie. He was so energetic and fun and like just on the ball. I mean, this is like a softball character for him to play, but I loved him in this movie. It was one of my favorite Sorbo. He was.
This is just the guy he has to play every time.
Yep.
Really like smug person of like marginal power. He just needs to be able to talk down to people, and he's awesome. He should be a podcaster in his next movie, to be honest.
He should just be a podcast. I don't know why he and Braden his wife has a podcast that literally nobody listens to.
Yeah.
But I would listen to Kevin and Braden. Nah, I wouldn't. Never mind. I got other shit to do.
Man, I'm looking at the account Trust God Bro right now, and I am surprised by how many NBA basketball players follow it.
That's cool.
Is it what's the tone of the account? Is it an Instagram account? I'll look at it.
It's
There's-
pretty basic. I followed it for a while, but it's just got like too. It's not as interesting as some of the other Christian accounts I follow. But I was just thinking about it because like that's this movie's like trust God, bro.
Yeah. Do you think there will be a movie soon about a Christian podcaster who like speaks his mind and like goes viral?
Well-
like, because that podcasting is the ultimate scenario. Podcasting is the ultimate setting where you get to create hypothetical arguments that you just get to knock down all day long to
Absolutely.
reiterate your beliefs that you slowly get more and more entrenched in.
Well, lest we forget that show that ran for 3 seasons called God Friended Me,
Right.
which the central
Yeah.
premise is that the lead character has a podcast where it's a Christian and an atheist who get together to like talk about things.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the closest we've seen to just like straight up Christian podcaster representation in a film. Or
Yeah.
that wasn't a film, but you know what I'm saying. That was the first thing we ever tried to review for as a podcast, and you know, we had no idea what we were doing, so we kind of bombed the episode and never released it. But that is a Christian podcaster depicted in media that we've been able to look up to.
Ooh, that showing a Christian podcast being recorded would be a good way to get in like low budget miracles too. Like if you're showing it over Zoom or over audio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. Jamie, pull up that miracle.
Well, like kind of how like that movie Host is like pretty creepy, or even like Unfriended. Speaking of God Friended Me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it could be like the
God
positive Christian
unfriended me.
version of Unfriended.
God muted me.
God permabanned me. Let's see.
It does feel more and more like God has shadow banned Earth and humanity. So the Vieira comes and makes this little speech, and
Yes.
David gets the opportunity, being the precocious young debatester he is, to stand up and ask a question. And the question he asks is, shouldn't God have a place in the school system or government? What do you believe? And Vieira gives a pretty like generic political response about what he believes, what his like how his office would treat this kind of question. But David follows it up by saying, "What do you personally believe?" And he can't say it, even though he agrees with him.
Can't say it.
He asked the God question.
Yeah.
He's like, my computer says I can't answer. He's like, I'm not asking your
Yeah.
computer.
This is where I thought it was really weird, because the whole thing goes viral. The campaign's all shaken up and everything, but Vieira like agrees with him. This is where this whole thing in this movie comes of like everybody is secretly Christian in this
Yes.
movie. The only thing stopping them from being out about it is the headmaster of a private school and his son, his 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
Everyone is terrified of these two people, including someone running for president.
Yep.
Yeah. And, pretty soon after that, like, I thought this would be a huge plot point of the film, but no, pretty soon after the debate, or it's not even a debate, it's just like this question and answer session where someone is secretly videoing it on their phone and sends it to the media.
Yeah.
And this goes viral, of course. And pretty soon after that, Senator Vieira like goes to David personally and is like, "I'm sorry I didn't say it, but I agreed with you." And David is like, "Well, why didn't you say it?" And it's still challenging him. And Senator Vieira is like, "I don't know," or whatever he says.
Yep.
This causes like a crisis, sort of a personal crisis in Senator Vieira. Causes a crisis with his staff. His staff want to abandon him because he's considering, talking about his faith. This is something we've talked about many times on the show. The plot of people in media trying to accept their faith and the people around them being like, "You can't be a Christian."
Yeah.
No one likes that.
No one has ever been elected to the office of the president of the United States by talking about their faith, particularly Christian faith.
Hope.
It would be awesome if he came out as like, yeah, I'm a Nation of Islam.
I'm
gonna start talking about that all the time.
I was gonna say, hey, Senator Vieira, he has said the Shahada and he has converted to Islam. Praise Allah, you know.
I think that's the only circumstance, well, that and being Jewish, where you can just kiss your ass goodbye if you're running for president.
Yeah.
I mean, they let freaking Catholics in office, for crying out loud.
They have.
And they answer to the Black Pope
That's right.
and the Vatican
Very
too.
dangerous.
Yeah. Yes. We are in the fantasy world where everyone around you advises you to not say you're a Christian because it's going to tank your campaign, and then like the entire American public like rallies behind Vieira as he talks about his faith more and more.
Of course.
Where do you get these people? Where are you hiring these campaign people?
I mean, they're very. Lisa Arnold loves millennials.
Yeah.
And again, I've said it before in this episode, but his campaign managers are very like 2012 millennial core.
Yeah.
They're very like, that'll never happen. So that's it.
Yeah. They're like the millennial version of Sorbo's agent in Let There Be Light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exact characters I was thinking of. Oh, darling, you not stop with all that God talk. You'll never have a best-selling book. And these people being like, in this house we believe science.
Yeah.
But basically the same character. And
imagine running for president of the United States and not being prepared for a question of, do you believe in God, asked by like a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Like that tanks your campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most people would be are like worried about like, there's a picture of me strangling a sex worker. And they're like prepared for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, there was also remember the picture of his daughter?
Right.
There was a moment like
weird.
that.
What was
So
going
bizarre.
on with that? He has a rebellious daughter. It feels like they cut some of that out of the movie.
Yeah.
It does.
Like, I also think that the reason they don't talk about like why the bully is like anti-Christian, I feel like that was kind of cut out of the movie as well.
Yeah.
But there's this plot where it's like his daughter is like rebellious and like brings protest signs to his rallies, which is like insane. They would just have her body snatched and assassinated by now.
Yeah.
And also there's a photo of her holding a red Solo cup at a party.
Yeah. And his like response is that she was there to prevent other people from drinking because she wants to see change in the world. And everybody's like, yeah.
Boom.
Cool. People are like literally, you have like your choice between a fucking guy who jacks off onto feet while shooting up heroin on like Twitch feed. Or you have like two fucking weird ass like mutant twins in Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump. And still nobody is like outraged.
No, they're only outraged for the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's of course, that's how it works. And nowadays, savvy politicians understand this, but movies do not. They think, as they insist later in the movie, that facts are what wins debates.
Yeah.
Similarly, they do not get that there's nothing that can. Your daughter drinking from a red Solo cup is not going to tank your presidential debate. It's just not going to happen.
I know. You just say, no, she didn't. Next question. Which is
Yeah,
basically what he does.
fake.
I thought it was a really good point though that the headmaster's son made when they were in the debate class though, before they got to the debate, where he was like, being in charge is just about like manipulating people around you. And I forget how he worded it, but I was like, yeah,
Yes.
basically he was saying it's just about
Yeah,
winning.
their practice debate was about whether or not politicians should express their views. That was the debate.
Cool.
The debate was one side said they should express their views while they're on their campaign. The other side said that they should not have to express their views ever. And that was the debate that they were having.
Right.
I want to live in this world. It's so much simpler.
It is so much simpler.
And it was like their weird way of like turning the headmaster's son into just an outright fascist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how would you even like, I don't even fucking get it. And their like arguments were like politicians should express their views so that people know why they're voting for these people. And then the other side was like, politicians should never say anything because they have a job to do and they can't let other people get in the way.
I mean, that is kind of what Debate Club does, right? Though they just like pick. It's about getting there. It's not really about the solution.
I think so, but I don't know. I was never in a debate club, but I feel like you'd at least have something to go on. Well, maybe you're right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that was this movie was smart enough to like think about that. But
I just think that if you're in high school and you're in a debate club, you are gay and it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
that's my position for this argument.
Do we have any contentions? Yeah, this is gearing up. There's going to be a debate showdown, okay? Because the debate, as this is the case, and I can't even tell you how many Christian movies we've watched so far.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate in combat is the debate, the war of ideas and words and facts and logic. Because, as we've said many times on the show, this is what 75% of Christian movies come down to. Because at the end of the day, the whole concept of this movie is about what you believe in your head and how that's correct or not. So, of course, the only real like conflict you can have between two characters is being resolved by you trying to convince somebody of something.
Yes.
This movie is no exception. There's a debate between, I think Gordon is the bully's name.
Yeah.
And David that will decide, I guess, David's fate in the school. The headmaster has been very threatening to him. The headmaster has said, if you even try to win this debate, I will make sure you and your mother have no future.
If you win this debate, David, if you even try to win this debate, you will be removed from our prestigious school. And I won't stop there. I will do everything in my power to ensure that you and your mother go absolutely nowhere in life.
His very powerful friends, including the potential president of the United States, who seems to be on David's side.
Yeah.
I don't know why, David couldn't just be like, your buddy who's about to be the president really likes me, so I think I'll be okay.
I think I'll be fine. Yeah, he like knows my name and is like coming to the debate. By the way, this is not to mention the absolutely inane subplot about the girl reporter.
Oh,
who like I don't even want
Maddie, the little kid.
Yeah,
Maddie.
I
Maddie
hated this
Stein.
entire subplot. She was so annoying.
Yes,
her whole thing was that she was a fan of this like adult female reporter, and so she was like feeding her stories from the school.
Yep,
and they were like linking up and having this like girl power moment. But it's like. It's just funny because she like stands this girl reporter, but at the news office the girl's like not respected. So she feeds her stories, and it's like you need like a high school kid to provide you sources. I don't know. She doesn't seem like that good of a reporter. Is what I'm trying to say.
No,
she's in high school. She's learning.
Oh no, I'm talking about the older woman.
Yeah,
the girl in high
right.
school, she seems very precocious. She got a bright future ahead of her. She seems annoying enough to work as a reporter. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, okay.
This is also
okay.
This is also basically the main plot of Civil War, by the way.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
God.
I'm just
Never
now
gonna watch this
realizing
movie.
this is
I can't
literally.
wait.
I mean, this is the reason why I thought the first hour was ass.
Can't wait. I literally
Is
cannot
it-
wait to see
okay,
this movie.
I'm sorry,
gonna love
but is it not a little weird that this like whatever dumb, I'm guessing kind of dumb movie is coming out right now where there's like actively wars in anybody who pays attention remotely to the news's feed right now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's get your asses in the theaters and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right. It just seems like, I don't know.
A little tasteless.
Yeah. What if they released like a mini series about like the 90s Lakers that came out like at the same time every Lakers game played for the entirety of the playoffs? They're like, no, pay attention to this.
Well,
Yep.
Scott, when is the war gonna stop so we can make a war movie?
Yeah.
The war
That's
has been
true.
going on. Hey, I think it's
The show
disrespectful.
must go on, man.
I think it's disrespectful that there's a Family Guy character called Quagmire when we've been caught in the quagmire of the war in the Middle East. That's a George W. Bush throwback right there. If you remember when they always called it a quagmire.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But anyways, we're leading up to the final debate showdown between David and Gordon, attended by Senator Vieira himself. And this is a big news story. The media is there. Senator Vieira is there to support David, the
Our
young upstart
spunky
who-
high school reporter got the drop once again that he's coming. Of course.
Yes. So what happens at this debate?
The president's got a really bad security detail, by the way, if he cannot hide his location from a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah.
What happens at the debate?
Facts win.
Tuna fish sandwich.
Facts win. Facts and faith win. Oh, yeah.
And the tuna fish sandwich.
The headmaster tries to. So the headmaster is so sure that David is going to win the debate, he bribes him with a $2,000 check that he signs with his name on it.
Check.
Not a good move if you're trying to bribe someone
So stupid.
for a
Check.
tuna sandwich. Yeah. It doesn't
Half a
really
tuna sandwich.
play.
Yeah, it's
doesn't
supposed
really
to be
play
like
out.
an arbitrary. Lisa Arnold thought she was fucking cooking when she wrote this scene, but it's
Yeah.
like it's Casper Van Dien being like, "Hey, I'm hungry. That tuna sandwich of yours looks pretty good. How about I buy it for you, from you for $2,000?"
Yeah.
And then he eats the tuna fish sandwich. It's very confusing.
It's very funny.
The debate was really funny because there was a part in it where David cites the Supreme Court ruling that atheism is a religion because it revolves around a faith-based belief.
Which we've been saying on the show. I will say.
Yeah. But it was really funny, like citing a bureaucratic entity to affirm your argument that the bureaucratic entity that you disagree with is wrong. Like why, like cherry picking the Wisconsin State Supreme Court to be like, this is why I should be allowed to say under God.
Right.
Gordon, unfortunately, not the best critical thinker, so he can't point out that fallacy that basically David is doing what any good Christian character in a film is doing, is just cherry picking random chain email facts and just repeating them to somebody who's just like,
They're like, I love when Christians like, I mean, this isn't like an evolution movie, but I love when they always quote like the one insane scientist who got like peer reviewed at some paper that literally no one reads
from like awesomesciencefacts.com.
Yeah, but it's peer reviewed, and
Yeah.
they're like, he says there's no such thing as apes,
Or somebody
Whatever.
like citing a theory that goes on to be like completely disproven.
Yeah.
And like the whole point of it was to disprove the theory to begin with. But they're like, scientists say that there is a possibility that the pyramids were built by aliens.
Yeah, there's some pretty good points in the debate. David says that religion influenced all sciences, therefore it's still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Gordon says we have a godless constitution. In my notes, I wrote blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
David says we should start our school day with the recognition of what founds our country.
God, can you imagine?
Why?
And all of
Why?
the other students are like cheering for him.
Yeah, because that's what they want.
That's what I always wanted in my school, was more shit to do.
Yeah. I mean, they're cheering. It's funny because this is, now that I think about it, kind of clever of Lisa Arnold, because really they just hate the bully.
Yeah.
As we've pointed out, I would basically, well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of David, but if I were in the school's shoes, of someone who went to that school. I'm sure Gordon's way more of an annoying day-to-day presence than David.
Yeah.
So they're just cheering that he's losing. They don't really give a fuck about saying the pledge.
Yes.
But it was clever of Lisa to use that to sort of imply that all the students were secretly Christian. They were just being oppressed by a fascist.
Something that the Democratic Party could probably learn about running their campaigns. They're not necessarily cheering for the guy that they claim to be obsessed with. They're cheering for you to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
It is crazy how hard right now it is just like, well, you can't vote for that guy. Can't vote
Yeah.
for the other guy. You're like, you're going to have to do a little more, just a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
What will you do?
Ask not,
What God can do for you.
ask what you can do for God. Era.
Then toward the end of the debate, it starts getting personal.
Yes.
You know,
Sad.
the gloves come off. Sad, except for the fact that, David's winning. So we're happy
Yeah.
about that. David pulls out the check
Mm-hmm.
that he's trying to be bribed with. Very
It
sort
seemed
of
like it didn't
Trumpian.
really do anything.
Yeah, because people are probably like, "What is that?" He just he just holds up a
Small
check and
white
he's like,
square.
"And what does this mean?" And
Yeah.
everyone in the crowd is like, and it's like normally you'd be like, "What is he holding up? What is that?" But Gordon doesn't like to see that. He doesn't like to think that his dad's going to have to buy him the debate. He wants to win. And then Gordon said, I wrote this part down. Gordon says to David, in front of everyone at the debate, people like me will always succeed in life, and people like you will always be led by me.
Let's face it, the greatest minds in our country, like Stephen Hawking, know that science rules, facts rule. Well, knowledge and education are what we can trust. They lead to the only path for success. In other words, people like me will always succeed in life. And people like you will always be led by people like me.
All right, Mr. Kingston, that is truly out of order.
Does not really seem to be in the spirit of a debate.
Nope. It's also just weird, to say that it's weird to see that being used as a counterpoint to somebody basically saying we all are Christian by living in this nation. You are a Christian, than to have somebody else be like, I am the fascist.
Yeah, I am a fascist.
I didn't really understand who I'm supposed to be rooting for.
Two people going, I'm a fascist.
Yeah.
No, I'm a fascist.
Yeah. Well, what do they call it in the movie Persecuted? It's like the Family and Faith Act or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the faith. I think it is the Faith and Families Act or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
FFA.
Gordon's fighting for that.
Yeah.
Truly, yeah. I they pretty much take place in the same universe. I think it's safe to say. That's another fake politics. That's the movie where the preacher is the most important political voice in America, and everyone is yearning for his endorsement.
Yes.
I love this the belief that there's 4 people who run the government.
Yeah,
And not in a scary Illuminati way, but in this very quaint I got to consult with my preacher before I write this bill.
Yeah.
What else? You said you had a bunch of thoughts about the debate, Julian. Anything else?
Yeah, I spoke too soon. That was my only thought.
It's
Well,
fine.
it was
But
funny
I
too.
thought it was such
David-
a banger when I wrote it down that I thought. I mean, basically, I thought I was gonna do what he does in the movie, which is just say one thing and then shut everything. We'd shut down the podcast.
Yup. He did go into that spiel David did about how can you do anything without God anyway kind of bit
Oh
that we
yeah,
hear a lot. Where you're like, what? You don't need to. You're going too far.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not thinking about God when I fucking take a shit in the morning. It is possible to do some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make that perpetual Christian film argument that basically is without God, there's nothing. I was actually surprised they didn't just straight up say without God, there's no morality, because a common Christian argument is without the Bible or without God, we wouldn't really be able to judge right from wrong. That
Yeah.
the ability
Right.
to
Why do
discern right from
anything?
wrong, right, and even just like the ability to discern law or right from wrong in the first place came from someone setting a law that we then riffed on as the millennia went on.
Yeah.
And I don't even really think they just say that in this movie. They just say like, without God, there would be nothing. It's like, okay, source. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm a Christian, but like, that just doesn't seem in the spirit of a debate to me.
Yeah.
Then there's another bombshell when we
Right.
realize that David has stolen his reporter friend Maddie's phone and recorded the headmaster attempting to threaten and bribe him. The smoking gun. Oh, David wins the debate, in case that's not entirely clear. He wins. Everyone's very happy. Gordon's father yells at him.
Yep.
And then David pulls out the smoking gun footage. The audio recording of Casper Van Dien as the headmaster saying, "If you even so much as try to win the debate, I will make sure you and your mother have no future."
It's so funny.
And
It's
his mom's in the crowd like, "David, KSSO."
Do you remember when there was that? We should watch this. That debate between Bill Nye the Science Guy and like the creationist guy.
Oh my God, great
Oh,
idea.
I had
yeah.
a friend in college who was like, "Oh, I can't wait for this,"
Oh,
and I was
boy.
like, "What the fuck do you think this is going to change?"
The spirit of debate.
So much stock is put in this debate between two 13-year-old boys about whether or not God whether or not you should be allowed to say "under God" during the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
The message of this movie is that if you are 13 years old, you need to believe in what you believe at that moment for the rest of your life and stand up for it.
Yeah.
Which is
You could change
so
the
bizarre
course
to
of
me.
who becomes president with your beliefs as a 13-year-old boy.
Yes. Yes, you could.
Which is kind of funny because there's so many stories of people being like, I was, so lost and I was doing drugs and sleeping around and stuff. And then I found God. And it's like, well, they shouldn't have been standing by what they believed in at that moment.
Right. Yeah, this is why we've said many times on the show, become a Christian later in life.
Yeah.
Because then you can say, "Oh, and all the fun I had."
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Mhm.
like David here, if you're a Christian 13-year-old, I mean, you're doomed to be like fucking tucking your shirts in for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but he's
Andy
going
Foreskin.
for clout right now. He's taking advantage of that. So he's going that route.
Yeah.
Just being in that
Right.
headspace.
But
He's
how
soaking it
dark
up.
is it? How dark is it? And we all have known these people. But like to be like young and clout hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I knew,
I know.
again, I went to a pretty big competitive suburban high school. I'm sure this is common at like every high school, but there were some kids I knew who it's like they were trying to get into like Harvard and Yale from the time they were like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, girl, you gotta like fucking smell the roses, man. Like I wasn't even that rebellious in high school or whatever, but at least I wasn't. What am I? I'm a podcaster now. What do I have to show for this shit?
know.
Maybe I should have been trying to get into Harvard when I was 12.
It's hard to
could've-
argue.
I could have been that gay guy that was having sex in the Senate
Yeah.
if I would have only gone to Harvard. If I would have
If
only
only it applied
tried
yourself.
Harvard. Yeah.
They should have. I wish in the movie they had the reporter at the end had been like, "David, you're so well spoken and think about things so clearly. Do you think you should be able to vote for president right now?" And then he could have been like, "No," and then like given an explanation why he shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Right.
Yes.
I would be curious to know what he thought. I mean, I feel like he's one of those just like, you just got to take an IQ test. Doesn't matter if you're 13,
Yeah.
83.
Okay.
If your IQ is at, if you take a 15-minute IQ test on the internet and it's above like 110 or something, then you should be allowed to vote and anyone else should be cast into the lake of fire.
Yeah.
Well, he could have been like, only white men should be able to vote and not
Right.
definitely
Yeah.
not women, based on what the founding
Yeah.
fathers thought.
Yep. Ironic that he is so staunchly supportive of the original Constitution, being the child of immigrants, people of color.
Well, the founding fathers were all immigrants.
That's true.
But they were white immigrants. That's like there's that meme that's
They
like
were South African.
that's like that meme that's like real blank when a blank come through. It's like real Constitution fans when only white men and no women can vote come through. That's what I would have liked to have seen. Hey, maybe if the movie had just interrogated this character further, we would have gotten there.
Yeah.
Senator Vieira is like, yeah, let him cook. Let David cook. Like, Senator is like, your story is so inspiring. It helped me reclaim my faith on the personal stage. Tell me, what else do you believe? And David's like, well, even though I'm a Mexican, I do believe only white men should be able to vote. And Senator Vieira would have been like, oh.
Ooh. Senator Vieira is running away with the election.
And surprise, surprise, when Senator Vieira does, embrace his faith on the public scale, his numbers go up. Would you fucking believe?
They always do. No matter what the people, no matter what these hand-wringing liberals, establishment, Dems want to say,
yeah,
the people of the United States believe in God, and they want someone to go up there and say, I believe in God too.
Yep. That's what they do. And also, happy ending after the headmaster is kicked out for threatening David.
He's executed on the public school or private school lawn.
Well, he's
Let out in
flogged.
cuffs.
Like his character in Starship Troopers, he's homoerotically flogged on the campus. But who replaces him as headmaster? But Kevin Sorbo.
Yes, dude. Yes.
The perfect ending to a perfect film.
I actually did not know that happened. I was in the shower when I was finishing this movie.
You were jacking off.
Yeah.
That's because you like facts. Facts win.
Facts.
Oh, yeah.
Don't care about your feelings about atheism.
That's
or
for damn
religion.
sure. And the funniest lie this movie told is when David's friend says to him, like, facts are what wins debates. No, they don't.
Yeah, if anything, this movie proved that you absolutely do not have to have any facts to win a debate.
In fact, it would simply work against you in the
Yes.
way, in the confines of this movie.
You need public emotional backing and nothing else.
You need to
Sure
hope.
do.
You need to hope that you're going up against one of the most incompetent people that could ever set foot on a debate stage.
It could happen.
Yeah, we're if we had a presidential debate right now, we'd have two of them.
All you need to do is get your foot in the door and you can be president. It's the office is wide for the taking, y'all.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is you have to get in the debate. And when the American public sees the debate, that will surely influence their opinion.
Mm-hmm. It always has.
It always has.
And a lot of people will watch these debates and walk away thinking, gee, I was wrong about what I thought going into that debate.
Yeah. Or they will think, oh, you know what that other guy said was pretty inspiring. I got to hand it to him.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No, yeah. It's a beautiful country we have.
Be a shame if something were to happen to it.
Basically, all you have to do to be president is hang around long enough to the point where people are just like, yeah, sure, he should be president. Why not?
Yeah.
Did you notice when David was in the bathroom getting himself psyched up for the debate, Gordon comes out of the stall
Yes.
and does not wash his hand and then grabs David by like the collar
good point.
and pulls off his necklace and then like grabs him by the throat with his bare hands. Came out of like the toilet
The stall, mind
Yeah.
you. Very nasty guy. Gordon is a very nasty guy, as Trump would say. Very, very nasty guy. I liked when he makes his faith-based turn and his campaign managers are like, okay, we need to call Megan and we need to call Tucker. And then like 5 seconds later, they're like, we got Megan. I was like, Megan seems like really pretty easy to get a hold of. I was like, did you call her? Like, did you just call her home phone and she picked up? They couldn't say their last names, I guess, or whatever, but they, implied that they were taking a conservative turn. So maybe this is supposed to be the Republican Party?
Yeah.
No fucking clue.
No idea.
It doesn't really matter anymore.
They also said to get
like,
Wolf. Get Wolf. Get
Wolf,
Rachel.
get everyone on the horn. Get them all on a conference call.
Rachel Maddow?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, get RuPaul on the phone. Guys, what do we think of One Nation Under God? What's the official Boys Bible Study review?
I thought this was yet another great debate. Hopefully we'll get to cover more great debates in the future. I hope. I really hope. I'm going to have to give this new Sorbo movie, new to me, of course, and new Casper Van Dien movie. Yes. And he was truly, truly great in this. He probably did the best performance of anyone in the movie. And that's why I'm going to have to give this half a tuna sandwich out of half a tuna sandwich. A perfect score.
Looks good.
Wow.
Half a $2,000 tuna sandwich, no less.
I'm going to give this 47 out of 47 U.S. presidents.
Ooh.
Because it's the only movie that gets two presidential candidates on the debate stage and dares to ask them, what steps are you doing to bring back the American dream?
I think that's very brave. I really appreciate that. I also really love this film. I just thought it was Sorbo at his best, Lisa Arnold at her worst, and it was a perfect combination, a perfect storm. Gonna have to give this film, Jesus, 1 out of 1 amendments, y'all, because that First Amendment is what gave Lisa Arnold the freedom to make this movie in the first place. Don't we love our Constitution, folks?
I hate to get like fucking lib right now, but like it's really funny that they'll be like, we have to fucking follow the Constitution as it was written. We have freedom of speech. And it's like, that was the fucking first thing that they were like, oh, fuck, we forgot to write freedom of speech. We got to write an amendment to the Constitution.
I didn't think about the fact.
Like, literally, they were like, ah, shit, we forgot something. Let's change it right off the bat. And it's the one that everybody is always like, that's the most important one. And they were like, yeah. And make sure that no one else can vote but us.
I love the idea this is the most important afterthought of the Constitutional
the
Committee.
first thing they forgot.
The first thing they forgot is so funny. Well, this was a wonderful film. Thank you to all Boys Bible Study listeners for joining us in this conversation. If it's your first time here, check out boysbiblestudy.com. Check out the amendments underneath that, because anything we forgot, we just put right under there. Also, if you like what we're doing and you want to support, check out patreon.com/boysbiblestudy, y'all. Appreciate it. And thanks to all our patrons, especially our patrons at the $20 tier, our founding fathers, Nicole, Marissa, Jeff, Rhett, and Mark. Thank you for the generous support. Our outro music is the song Oh My God by Mary. So from all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, our little brother, David, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And also Conti.
Is that,
Era.
Is that
Latino Kennedy?
Latino Kennedy? Latino Kennedy showed up?
Buenos dias.
All right. Great job.
No soy a crook. Oh, Latino Nixon. Would
Latino
be good.
Nixon.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me.